I just tweeted it out. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right. Once we get up to 50 people, I say we start. But what did you think about that TNF game last night?
I knew it was gonna be ass. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad.
Yeah. I knew honestly, bro. I have a future bet on the Patriots under 325.5 points, total points, I think, which is like 19.2 points per game, I think. And bro, like I knew these motherfuckers were gonna like regress like sometime. Like there's no way like Ramondre and it was just gonna like rush for 80, 90 yards a game. And like once Brissett had to start to pass, like I was not surprised at all. Like those weapons are fucking ass. Except for Pop did good, but that's what I regret. I regret not betting on Pop. We talked about it, and we talked
Yeah.
about it, and we just didn't.
I don't know if you've seen the picture I had in my notes that I wrote up and forgot to post, but
No,
it had Pop 40 plus yards.
Oh, well, what was the price on that too?
It was plus 168. I was thinking about doing plus 50 as well, but I was like, nah, I'll just keep it at plus 40.
Yeah.
I think what his original line was at 22.
I think so.
Yeah, 22 or 23. I was like, it's either gonna be him or Henry, and it was him.
And fucking Hooper just randomly like appears and shit and takes like random receptions away and just for like no fucking reason. But JJ, what I tell you? Hey, what I tell you about Big Mike on that back shoulder though?
No, yeah, I seen that.
Dude, I was like foaming at the mouth because I was like, dude, this shit is so caked because he wasn't even playing that much. Like Gibson was like playing a lot in 3 wide receiver sets, and I was like, dude, what is going on? Like, why? Like, fucking why?
Yeah, it has to be that short week.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense.
Brees.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense looking back at it, to be honest. But once I was like foaming from the mouth when I saw it was press man, no safety help, and it was like 3rd down. Mike Williams was like, they were on like the left hash. Mike Williams was right next to him. I was like, I know what's coming, bro. Just like, please, like, can y'all convert this shit? And then Big Mike got like a 20-yard catch, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. And I was so happy. I was like, when you're sweating out a bet like that, and you're like, yeah, this shit is actually cooked, and then they just get like a nice catch out of nowhere. That's like got to be like the best feeling.
Oh yeah.
But, okay, we got 80 people in here. I say we get it started. So my first prop, we're going Sunday Night Football. Travis Kelce over 4.5 receptions, and I'm playing that alongside with the Cincinnati Bengals money line. So let's get out the juice reducer first. Full transparency, I actually had like a beautiful read last week. Jerome Ford under 3.5 receptions. He had 1 like target, but then I fucking paired it with like the Lions money line, and they lost. So I am a little bit bitter about this, but when I was like looking at the schedule, guys, the Bengals are a good team. Like we all watched that game against the Chiefs. Like Burrow's healthy, they're getting T. Higgins back. Like they're a good team, right? They're playing the Commanders, who like they beat the Giants because they don't have like a fucking kicker. Like the 0-2 Bengals at home are not losing to the Commanders, and that's all I got to say about it. Like it's just a spot. Like they're 0-2, they're not losing. I'm very confident of that, so I feel very good pairing it with that. I feel very good, honestly, pairing that with like a lot of juice reducers. And if I wanted to go full degen mode, which guys don't do this, it's a very bad idea. But like, I don't know if you could maybe pair it with like 3 or 4. I was thinking about it. I'm not saying do it, but I just think the Bengals are like such a L word to win this week. So yeah. Anyways, the main prop, Kelce. It's a buy low. If you guys have been following me for a while, I'm a big buy low guy. I'm a big believer in like personal capping of the game. And yeah, Kelce, I think he had 3 receptions game 1, 1 reception in game 2. It's just a great buy low, man. Kelce, yes, he's not the same player as he was, but we saw in the playoffs he still can obviously play, right? And when Kelce has bad games, like it's loud. So I really think Mahomes goes out of his way to feed Kelce here. If we look back at last year, like this passing offense really doesn't have much, like really isn't much different. Worthy doesn't really get targets. Kelce last year, 5 receptions in 11 or 15 games. Another big edge, I think, is that Pacheco's out. So Pacheco, like, he's a very good running back. And they don't have shit to replace him. Like Carson Steele, Samaje Perine, like they're not. First of all, they're not as talented as Pacheco. Second of all, I know that they don't have the same amount of trust that Andy Reid has. So I really think that KC is going to skew pass heavy here, like really high pass rate over expectation. And also another reason why it's a good buy. KC, like, they're a good offense. We all know that they've had really bad overall plays ran luck. Mahomes, he's only attempted 28 and 25 passes. His passing line prop is at 35.5. And like I said, I lean over to that just because I think they're going to be super run heavy. So, yeah, guys, I'm not overthinking this one. Kelce to get 5 receptions. Like, I love buying low just because players, I think, are truly due. I think that they're going to go out of their way to get Kelce the ball. 5 receptions isn't shit. And then on top of that, I just think we're going to see a super pass-heavy attack from the Chiefs due to the lack of Pacheco. So, yeah, Kelce over 4.5 receptions, Bengals money line. Kind of sound like a square explaining it, but I like it. Plus 122 at FanDuel. So, got any thoughts on that, JJ?
I mean, you pretty much covered every single point. There's really nothing to add. I'm sure that was a very good write-up when you put it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like a pretty square just saying it, but I was just like thinking about it and trusting the gut here, trusting regression. Is there any
trust the gut?
Yeah, is it a bad matchup or no? I didn't even check. Like, I don't think it is. I know that they were allowing a ton of easy shit to Britton Covey last week.
Yeah, but I know. Like underneath the flats, like that's gonna be the targets, and especially like in the middle of the field, that's where Kelce can feast. I know that's probably what they're gonna do here. It's just gonna, for me personally, I think it's gonna be him and Rashee Rice, AJ Terrell. I don't know if he'll shadow Xavier Worthy because usually he likes to shadow somebody, but regardless, he is gonna have the toughest matchup there. So it's gonna be between him and Rashee Rice.
Yep, and the Swifties might send a hit out on Patty Mahomes if he doesn't get Kelce the ball. So we got that narrative going for it too. Okay, JJ. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna give out 4 props, and JJ he's actually gonna break down matchups and over/under leans based off of these matchups. And one last thing before JJ gets into that, if you guys are listening to this, make sure to leave comments on this. Make sure to ask questions, any leans or anything. We'll get to every single question by the end of it. Just make sure to comment them below. You can comment them on the Twitter post too if you're not on the stream. And yeah, so make sure to comment below. And JJ, what's the first matchup that intrigues you?
The first matchup is going to be that Colts game. They're going to be playing the Bears. So biggest thing here, obviously, no Keenan Allen. I think he was just rolled out probably like an hour or two ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. Colts by far the most covered 3 in the league, and so basically that's gonna be middle of the field close. So basically you're gonna probably target the outsides typically there, but usually it's gonna have a go-to receiver. But with this Bears offense, no one has really stood out due to bad quarterback play. Because DJ Moore against covered 3, specifically looking at week 2, 18% target per route run against middle of field close. Then you got Cole Kmet, 24% target per route run. Was it Carter, 13% target per route run, and then Swift at 36%. Swift is the guy I want to target here. Even on the season, he has 24%. And obviously, like Keenan Allen was the main guy against the cover 3, but that was mainly because game 1, and he had a ridiculous over 40% target per route run. Moore is going to get like a good air yard share. They're going to throw it down the field to him, but watching the film, they're just not getting the ball to him. The offensive line is weak, but I think they're going to blitz a lot because Colts are blitzing at the 6th highest rate, I believe. So looking at that, I don't know if they're going to be able to get more of the ball. Most likely, they're going to check the ball down, and I believe that's going to be a DeAndre Swift kind of game here tonight. Well, yeah. Sunday.
Hey, I like that, man. I played him over 2.5 receptions last week, and I think you got a couple first read design plays, if I'm not mistaken. And Yeah, I think that the more Caleb struggles, especially with Keenan out, the more Caleb struggles, the more what's the word? The more motivated or incentivized incentivized
Incentivized.
incentivized they are just to like just to get Caleb going with easy screen passes. So I kind of think that the designs stay up there too. And yeah, obviously if like the matchups there, just like zone in general. JJ, is there like a zone in general that is like bad for running back receptions? Curious.
Not necessarily zones. It's more man coverage.
Yep. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Colts are literally like they pretty much only play zone, like you said, cover three. Flats will be wide open. Hopefully, a couple designs. For whatever reason, honestly, dude, I think that Swift sucks as a runner. Like, I don't know about
Oh
you.
yeah.
I was watching him, and like, yeah, the O line isn't great, but I promise you, Khalil Herbert. I want a Khalil Herbert rushing line so badly, dude. You don't even understand. But I don't think we're gonna get one just because like he literally like isn't playing, which is good for your Swift receiving bet. And even if he does play more, like it's not gonna be passing work that he takes. So
Yeah.
yeah, the Bears can't run the ball, especially if they're gonna play Swift. So yeah, over 2.5 receptions. I know that's widely available. Decent juice as well. I think it was like minus 114 at FanDuel. I like that one.
You want to know a stat with Swift rushing?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Against light boxes on NFL Pro, it says he has 11 carries for 17 yards and negative 21 rushing yards over expected. That is horrible.
That honestly,
and one of those runs went for 10 plus yards. That is
honestly,
unacceptable.
That lines up with the eye test so much though. Like they need to play Herbert. That's what I'm saying, guys. I'm not even kidding. If Khalil Herbert, I remember his line closed. Obviously, the Texans are a very tough matchup on the ground, but his line closed at 12.5 rushing yards last week. He got 3 rushing yards this week. If they give Khalil Herbert a rushing line, it's going to be like under like 16.5 or something. I'm going to hammer it. Just like a heads up for that, because he is just like the Bears have to be going back and watching film and being like, holy shit, dude, like Swift, like we can't be giving him the ball all this time. So all right, JJ's first lean, DeAndre Swift over 2.5 receptions. Next prop for me, going with Kyler Murray, over 31.5 rushing yards, minus 114 at FanDuel. Why do I like Kyler? We were just talking about zone and man. Detroit, they are a very man-heavy team. They're playing man coverage at the third highest rate this year, which is 48.7%. And why is quarterback rushing good against man coverage? Because if you just like think about it, right? In a zone, you're watching the quarterback. Like you're covering your zone, you're turned towards the quarterback. You can see him like when he's about to start to scramble and stuff like that. You can see him move out of the pocket. But when you're lined up in man, like linebackers might be like chasing tight ends. DBs are obviously like chasing receivers on the routes. So that's just like why man coverage is like very, very good for rushing quarterbacks. Murray also, like, I mean, he's rushed 5 for 57, 5 for 59 on the ground so far. He's always been like a really good rusher, but last year was a little bit dicey, obviously, because he was coming off a torn ACL. But it's just encouraging to see that he has some explosive running ability on the ground still, and he's shown in week 1 and 2. Kyler did put up those lines, 5 for 57, 5 for 59. He put up those lines against teams that play a lot of zone, which is like a bad matchup for rushing. Buffalo, 72% zone. The Rams, 82.5% zone. Still flew over this 31.5 number. If you look at last week, Baker Mayfield, this dude doesn't scramble for shit. He's very immobile. He likes to just sit in the pocket. He just went 5 for 34 on the ground. He had an 11% scramble rate. That's the second highest mark over his Tampa Bay career. So just a little bit of evidence. Matthew Stafford didn't scramble in week 1, like shocker. Like it's fucking Matthew Stafford. So like he didn't do anything, but Baker, like you don't expect rushing out of him. So another thing that I like, Detroit, they're very good against the run. They brought in DJ Reader. They were already really good against it last year. So far this year, they're only allowing 53 rushing yards per game to running backs, only allowing 2.86 yards per carry. They are also Arizona, they're 3-point underdogs. Detroit's a good offense on the other side of the field. Why I think this is important, I think that this just lead to a lot of dropbacks. If James Conner can't get it going, if the Lions maybe get out in front, they got a good offense. more dropbacks. That just equals more scramble opportunities. So like the matchup from a game script, Detroit being good against a run standpoint as well. Detroit, Aiden Hutchinson, great defensive front. They're generating the 4th most pressure this year. That could also lead to more scrambles. And then even with Kyler coming off of the torn ACL, he still cleared this line in 5 out of 8 games last year. So I don't know. I just think this line's super low. I think there's a lot of stuff to like about it, whether it's matchup, game script, the pressure that they're generating, and I just think it's a pretty low line. So thoughts on that one, JJ?
I mean, yeah, I think the main thing here is going to be the pressure. They're going to have a lack of a run game, in my opinion, with that run defense. Because, I mean, last season and first couple of weeks, like, they're locked down on run. So, I mean, they're going to have to create somewhere. I think they'll probably throw some screen passes to, like, get something going. Like, it's like part of the run game, the extension of the run game. But, he's going to have to create with that pressure. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson has just been absolutely dominant getting to the quarterback. There's just been nobody like him this season. It's actually ridiculous because I think he has more sacks than quite a few teams out there right now by himself.
Yeah.
So to even just think about that is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the more I just like dug into this, I'm like, holy shit, this kind of checks a lot of fucking boxes. Just like the run defense, like the line, I think is a good value. The man coverage, so. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of like a data play, and I don't really like doing that, if I'm being honest. But you got to follow the numbers sometimes. So I'm rolling with Kyler. Hopefully, we see that little man scrambling.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. All right, JJ, your next matchup you want to go over?
All right, the next matchup is going to be the Vikings as they play the most middle of the field open, which is typically going to be 2 high looks. For those that don't know, against this, Collins has a 31% target per route run this season, with Dell at 18%, and then Diggs at 14%, and they've all ran 28 plus routes. So it is a decent sample size so far. Collins has 53% of the air yard share, Dell 32, and then Diggs 5.9. That Diggs one is gonna haunt me. 21 on the dot when I needed under 20 and a half.
Oh, that's ass.
And then Collins' first read share against middle of the field open is 39%, Dell at 22%, and Diggs at 15%. So right now, Collins' yardage is at 72.5, minus 120 right now. That is going to be the main guy I want to take if I want to over. If I want to under, probably be leaning towards Diggs under here. Let me see what his line is at real quick. DK is at 49.5. I would still lean under that. He's going to be more receptions, low A-dot guys still. Even though he got that 121-yard completion last week, the rest of his catches were 7 yards or less as far as the total yards on each of those plays. So you got to go lean towards the under on the yards here. And then Collins over.
JJ, do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like you just got to nut up and run that shit back.
Yeah.
Run that longest reception under. I'm actually looking it up right now. Let's see. It's a fun.
They bumped it down. They bumped it down to 19.5. That's funny.
That still sounds like a pretty good look though. Like,
yeah.
Like that does not sound terrible. One thing I do want to kind of like push back on, I guess, is just like, maybe I'm wrong here, but when I think about 2 high looks, I just think about things like underneath being wide open. And if that's the case, I kind of think that maybe like a Diggs reception line over 4.5 could make some sense, just because we know like his low A-dot, all that stuff. Yeah. I do think that just generally speaking, I probably wouldn't want to target any Texans unders in the receiving game in this matchup, because without Joe Mixon, without Dameon Pierce, kind of like the same reasoning why I have behind the Chiefs, I don't think they have someone that they trust. Like Cam Akers, I mean, he's looked pretty good in like preseason. He looked fine, but he lost a fumble, which isn't great for earning trust. Then they have like Ogunbowale, who, hey, not gonna lie, Ogunbowale, if they give him like a 6.5 receiving yards, might have to hit that against some 2 high safety looks from the Vikings. Flats will be wide open and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that Collins, I could be wrong. I feel like Collins is just so fucking good that like you look at his metrics against like every single coverage and you're like, holy shit, and he's good. I don't know. Maybe he's not at that point yet, but yeah, Tank Dell is another guy you mentioned. Like, yeah, on paper, it's not a great matchup, But he just everything about Tank Dell start of the year goes against like my philosophies with betting, or goes towards my philosophies with betting is over, because he's had so many fucking plays that even in week 1 and week 2, he's had so many plays that like just missed by like this much. And like he could have actually had some like monster games, and he just hasn't had them yet. So
yeah, like last week, dropping touchdown passes when you got his over.
Yeah, maybe like with all this said, like a Stroud passing over could make sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right now. Or completions if they're going to play too high and limit stuff. But yeah, CJ Stroud, let's I'm checking.
262.5 on DraftKings.
What's completions looking at?
It 20. Is completions 23.5 plus 110.
It's a minus 108, 22.5 on FanDuel, which is a little bit off market. I think that would make a lot of sense personally, but I just think this Vikings game is going to have Vikings Texans is just going to be a ton of passing, because we'll talk about it in a little bit, but I don't see the Vikings running backs doing much either in this one. So
the only thing is they have very exotic looks pre-snap, which throws a lot of teams off. So we'll see how prepared CJ Stroud is for that, because they can go into too high from like 10 different looks. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Flores, he's one of the best defensive coordinators out there for sure.
Because I seen one of the plays against the 49ers. They were showing cover 0 and drop back, and I think it was cover 2 Tampa, which is ridiculous. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, my brain can't complex what you just said, but I'll believe.
Basically, there's no safeties over the top they're showing pre-snap, and then they drop too deep.
Okay, yeah, that would confuse me for sure. All right, my third prop. This one, guys, this one's like a fucking gem. Like I really, really like this one. I really like all of them, obviously, but I think this one's like a gem. Let's go with Devon Achane, fins up, baby. Over 3.5 receptions, minus 125 at Bet365. So Devon Achane, if you guys didn't know last week, he came out and like stunned the hell out of me. Honestly, stunned the hell out of me with him being a workhorse without Raheem Mostert when he was a game time decision. I just didn't see that coming like whatsoever. Like he's like a smaller dude. He was a game time decision, and he's never been a workhorse, but it kind of makes sense. Like the dude's just like really, really good. He's way better than Jalen Wright. He's way better than Jeff Wilson. Like he's just one of the best running backs in the league, and like he got treated like it finally. So I'm kind of under the influence that Mostert, a report came out. He's doubtful to play. I'm under the influence he's going to be a complete workhorse again. So Skylar Thompson, as we all know, he got the start. He's getting the start, which I don't think is a bad thing for Achane. If you look at the market, like every Dolphins receiving prop is down, right? In relation to the Skylar Thompson news. But according to @Jake Tribbley on X, give him a follow. It was a good nugget that I found. Skylar Thompson, his career running back target share for running backs is 27%, which would be higher than any current starter. So he's been a check down merchant. Another thing, Achane, obviously, if you just look at the box score, he's been massively involved in the receiving game to begin this year. He's went 7 targets, 7 receptions in each of week 1 and week 2. And this really isn't a fluke either. He has 8 first read / design targets this year, which is 4 per game. Like 4, this line's at fucking 4. So that's tied for like the NFL lead with Breece Hall for all running backs. Seattle, they've allowed the 5th highest running back target share this year. So obviously they're fine allowing a few dump offs. Like I said, Mostert probably isn't going to play, probably going to be Achane workhorse season. If you look at the raw snaps, it wasn't great just because it was a blowout. But the first 20 out of the first 28 snaps, Achane literally was on the field for 23 out of the first 28 snaps. He hasn't been on the injury report all week either, which is good. Because like I said, he was a game time decision with an ankle issue last week, and now he's just not on the injury report. So seems like everything went good for him in week 2. So yeah, man, I just think this play checks all the boxes. We're getting a discounted line due to the quarterback thing, when in reality for Achane, I think it might even be a positive for him. 7 targets, 7 receptions each of week 1, week 2. We could get a negative game script. Seattle, they've been allowing a lot of targets to running backs, and also just with a backup quarterback, kind of like we just talked about with Swift, even though Caleb's the number 1 overall pick and not a backup. But it makes sense to get a backup in his first start. Just some easy schemed screen pass targets. Why not do it with Achane, who might be the most explosive player in the NFL? So Achane over 3.5 receptions. I absolutely love this one. I think you can ladder up to like 5 or 6. And yeah. Any thoughts on this one, JJ?
I'm expecting Skylar to be a check down merchant. Let me see what the target share was real quick during the fourth quarter, because I'm very curious. He mainly played the fourth quarter, right? Maybe like part of the end of the third quarter.
Yep.
Let's see.
I know Achane weirdly I think he got a garbage time reception. There's 2, like weirdly. Like I don't even think like Tyreek and them weren't in, but
yeah. I'm gonna look at snap.
I just say, guys, honestly, I think this is like a terrible line. Like I get it's a little bit juiced and stuff, but I don't know. Devon Achane, he ain't snagging 4. He's snagging 4.
Let's see, you got fourth quarter here. Fill load.
Hey guys, just a heads up. Make sure comments, any leans and stuff. We'll be getting to those in a little bit. So, any leans you guys have, any questions for some player props? Recommend you guys have some questions.
I forgot to filter for week 2. Here we go. Fourth quarter. So HN only ran 4 routes. Hill ran 3. Waddle ran 4. But HN had 4 targets. The rest of these guys had 0. Yeah, you got target on all 4 routes.
Dude, he's about to fucking get a 100% target share this week. Might have to ladder this up to like 15. Yeah, but guys, over 3.5. Like I said, I really think this is like a shitty line. So
yeah, I like that a lot. I just wanted to add that in there.
I'm glad you did, dude. I like it even more if you added it in. So, oh yeah. All right. Do you have another matchup that you want to break down for us?
I do.
You do? Okay. Let's put the people.
Eagles play a top 6 rate of cover 3. And so far this season, Olave has a 26% target per route run with 4.63 yards per route run. Juwan Johnson, he's only ran 6 routes, so it's low data. He has a 33% target per route run and 2.67 yards per route run. So take that one with a grain of salt. But the other main guy you want to look at is Rashid Shaheed, 22% target per route run and 4.28 yards per route run. Shaheed and Olave have only run 18 routes versus cover 3 this season, which, I mean, for like the first 2 games for just a single coverage, I feel like that's pretty good sample size. But Olave was the go-to guy last year. I believe he had like a 30+% target share. So, I mean, he's going to be the guy I want to target, especially with those yards per route run. I'm going to have 61.5 receiving yards at -113. I think that's a very good look against this Eagles defense, especially because they've been getting torched across the middle. They're going to move him around the offense a lot, get him in motion. I don't know if they're going to try and follow him around, but he's not going to be able to get pressed because they're going to use a lot of motion.
Yep.
So I like this a lot here.
You said the Eagles run a lot of cover 3. Well, do you know what else the Eagles do? They fucking suck. I don't know why. I just watch the Eagles, bro. I don't think their defense is good at all. Like, they just give up a ton of explosive plays. They can't stop the run. They can't really do shit. Like, I think the Saints, like, adding on to Olave. Okay, so I was torn on, like, I like every single over for the Saints that is Kamara related, Carr related, Shaheed related, Olave related. So I just couldn't choose like who to play. But the thing about the Saints, dude, like, I truly believe that we'll think about the Saints by week 8, week 10, how we think about the Dolphins, how we think about the Lions. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what like having an elite coordinator does, you know? And Shaheed, Olave, like Olave's always been like elite. And Shaheed, he's always had like the ability to be elite, right? Fast as shit. Derek Carr, like him in a good system, like what's the difference between him and Jared Goff and Tua? Like, honestly, if they're both in a good system, like they're very similar quarterbacks. Like they can make the right plays. Their
systems are very important in the NFL, and it's showing each and every season.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Baker. Obviously, like Goff when he switched. Well, there's some other ones out there. I'm just blanking. I mean, look at Sam Darnold right now. Like he's playing great, and everybody shit on him his entire career.
Yeah, dude. So Yeah, I think Olave makes the most sense if like to buy, right? Because he really hasn't had like that good game yet. It was pretty good
Mhm.
last week, but like Olave in this system, like the Saints have had terrible luck with pass volume just because they've been blowing teams out, right? If the Eagles
Yeah.
can push them a little bit in games that the Saints get pushed and the O line holds up, like Olave could be putting up like 90 yards a game. Like I'm not even trying to overstate that. Like this team is good, they're legit, and this isn't an official play. I mean, this was an official play, but I wasn't going to give it out on the show because it moved a little bit. But I'm on Saquon under 18 and a half rushing attempts just for like the thing is that I think the Eagles get killed here. Like they can't, like I said, they can't stop the run. Kamara, this is a good running system too, man. Like Kamara was not good last year, and this was not a good O line coming in. He's been great. They can't stop the pass. It's a great passing system. I don't know. I just think that like and like the Eagles without AJ Brown like looked like a disaster. Like I don't know. I just don't. I think the Eagles could get killed here. Like alt spreads, Saints on the spread. I don't know. I think this could be a good SGP game. Olave 100 yards, Kamara
Mhm.
touchdown, Hurts under touchdowns, Saints minus 13 and a half. I don't know. I think that's my take on that game. But like you said, all that to say, I do like your Olave over 61 and a half receiving yards.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I just couldn't decide, dude. There's too much I liked. So,
No, definitely.
all right. Final play, final prop, official prop of the show. It's an under. It's a little bit boring. I went with Ty Chandler of the Minnesota Vikings under 35 and a half rushing yards. And yeah, my main reasoning behind this is like Houston, their run D was elite last year. They
Mhm.
were second in EPA against the run. They were first in success rate against the run last year. And this year so far, I mean, they're averaging 20 or 37.5 running back rushing yards per game, second fewest in the league. They're allowing the lowest yards per carry, 2.27 to running backs. Obviously, yes, they just played against one of the worst rushing attacks in the NFL and the Bears. But even if you go back to week one, Jonathan Taylor, the Colts, one of the best running back systems in the league. He went 16 for 48. So this is just a really good run D. Like I said, I mentioned the stats, the metrics from last year. It's probably just a D'Amico Ryans thing coupled with good personnel. So very tough to run on. On top of that, I think that Houston, Minnesota, yes, they've been a good team. They beat the 49ers. It's very impressive. I just think these teams are in different tiers. I think that Houston is much better than Minnesota. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Vikings playing from behind in this one. They still have Darnold at quarterback, who I like, who I think is going to be good, but very prone to turnovers. I could see a bad game script here, basically, what I'm saying. And the reason why I'm choosing to fade Ty Chandler over Aaron Jones is that Aaron Jones's line's at 45 and a half. Ty Chandler's at 35 and a half. I get that this is a split backfield, but I don't think it's like this split. I get that Chandler out-touched him last week. He had the hot hand. Jones also went to the medical tent for a little bit, lost out on a little bit of work. He had a full practice. He seems good to go. And I don't know, man. Like I said, I just think that Aaron Jones and this Ty Chandler, I think the split is a little too close than it actually should be. So I'm rolling with the Ty Chandler under, but don't mind. I really like Jones under as well. The Vikings, they've gotten two good game scripts, really good game script, obviously, against the Giants. And then against the 49ers, they had a good game script too. So I think this is a really good spot for the Vikings pass volume. We haven't seen it yet, but like I said, you can't run on Houston. You could be playing from behind. So I think that overs in the passing game make a ton of sense too. So yeah, I'm just choosing to fade Ty Chandler under 35 and a half rushing yards at FanDuel.
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, pretty much everything you said. I mean, it's really hard to add on when you cover every single point,
Yeah.
so it's hard to follow up.
I just be blabbing out of my ass sometimes.
No, but
But
you're good. I mean, you're covering every point. Like every
yeah,
question somebody would ask, like you covered it, like which is what people should want,
yeah. JJ, real quick, I do want you, if you have fantasy points pulled up.
Mhm.
I said all this about fading the running game, but obviously I think it's like a really good spot for the Vikings passing game to come alive and really have to attempt a lot of passes. So do you want to pull up some numbers from Houston and ways you can attack possibly through there?
Yeah. pull this up real quick.
One thing off the top of my head is I'm almost positive they play a ton of 2 high safeties, which obviously keep stuff in front of you, dump it down. But that's really all I know off the top of my head. And
You said, who plays a ton of 2 high again?
Texans. We were looking at the Texans.
Yeah.
Ways to attack the Texans through the air. Because I just think that the volume is going to be great for the Vikings to pass in this one.
So Texans, they're pretty evenly split. I mean, they're pretty average as far as 1 high and 2 high. But let's see. Texans they're 10th in cover 1 according to fantasy points.
Oh.
And 2nd in cover 4. So
what does cover 4 leave open?
Cover 4 underneath, usually a lot of crossers, so you're gonna probably target the flats.
Yep.
Similar to my read yesterday, when you're trying to pick props against the Jets, that's typically like the type of props you want to find.
Okay. So tight ends, running backs out of the backfield, maybe.
Yeah, definitely like slot receivers if they're running a lot of crossers, especially in motion.
Yep. JJ will get put in motion. He could have a good game.
Yeah.
He could have a good game every fucking game. So I mean,
yeah, I think they took him off the injury report too. I think they say he's good to go. I just seen that.
Addison is not playing though. So
yeah. So whatever you looked at last week as far as that data, that's going to be very similar data to use for this game here.
Maybe even just like a Darnold, like I said. I think a Darnold attempts, completions would make sense too. So
yeah. I'm going to pull up the Texans run defense here real quick.
Very good.
Where is it at?
What are you using for that?
Fantasy points. I'm already here.
I know some of their stuff skewed because they let Anthony Richardson have a pretty good game on the ground and Caleb too. That's why I kind of like looking at the running back, like just like pure yards per carry and stuff. But
yeah, so they allow the 7th fewest missed tackles forced per attempt. That's important to note.
Yep.
3rd fewest yards after contact, and 3rd fewest yards before contact. Yep. Those are usually like the key metrics. See if someone's going to break one off. So obviously Texans are tackling very well. I mean, if you saw the highlights last week on Sunday Night Football, that was hitting everything.
Yeah, they're good defense, dude. There's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, give us a Texans good game script where the Texans just get out in front.
Yeah, and I believe Vikings, so like McVay, Shanny type of style offense, should be zone concept. So Houston is allowing the 6th fewest yards per carry on zone.
Okay.
And average and success rate, but yards per carry is what we care about right here.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, everything I've found so far agrees with your play right now.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, guys. Last thing I have is a fun little bet. So I've been watching some shows of people's, and I'm kind of just fucking copying them. But there's a big thing with that people have been doing, and that's reverse correlation, where it's like under receptions over yards for like a downfield receiver, which makes like complete sense, right? So I'm about to spoon feed you guys a perfect game script for the Giants versus the Browns game. Here's how it's going to go. Daniel Jones is going to get fucking killed. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, this pass rush against them, they're not going to be able to stay on the field. They're going to turn it over. He's going to like fumble. He's going to get sacked like 6 times. It's going to be ugly. I think it might be like a 25 or 24-3 win for the Browns here or something like that. Like it's going to be ugly. And what that means is like the Browns, Deshaun Watson, like he's kind of prone to screwing shit up. Like, it's just going to be a run heavy game. The Giants also can't stop the run at all. So here's the script. Deontay Foreman outcarried Jerome Ford 14-7 last week. The Giants, they can't stop the run. He's getting 70 rushing yards. He's also going to punch one in because you're going to get good field position with all these sacks. There's going to be holding penalties. They're going to get good field position. He's punching one in. So Deontay Foreman, he's getting 70 rushing yards. He's scoring a tutty. like I said, Daniel Jones, he's not throwing for a tutty either. He's going under 0.5 passing touchdowns. He's going under 180.5 passing yards. Drew Lock, honestly, it might be so bad that we might get Drew Lock in at the end of the game. Kind of like how we got May in at the end of the game last night. Same shit's gonna happen here. Daniel Jones, he ain't throwing 180 plus passing yards. It's not happening. Like I don't know. He's not gonna have any time to get Neighbors. Neighbors is gonna have to like get a 99-yard slant touchdown for him to go over or something. But we're hoping that's not gonna happen. Obviously, I already predicted the score. We're taking the Browns on the spread -6.5. And then another thing with so I'm kind of just tacking shit on, but another thing with the Browns or the Giants is that their secondary is terrible. Amari Cooper is like atop the league in air yards, but I think he's literally caught like 5 out of 17 targets. Like it hasn't been good. So obviously we're going to get a lot of running for Cleveland. So we're taking Amari Cooper under 3.5 receptions, but he's going to catch one for 30 yards. Like he's due to catch a bomb. It's going to happen. It's going to be like a play action. It's going to open it up. He's catching a 30-yard bomb. So basically, a 7-legger of Foreman touchdown, Foreman 70 rushing yards, Daniel Jones under 0.5 touchdowns, and under 180.5 passing yards. Browns on the spread -6.5. Cooper to catch a 30-yard ball, and Cooper under 3.5 receptions, plus 20,968. So I don't know, guys. I'm feeling pretty good about that script. So little lotto action going on. JJ, how do you feel about that script? Do you think I'm off on anything?
I mean, not really. It sounds perfect as long as it, get everything going your way. I mean, why not sprinkle on it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of a reverse correlation, but I like it.
Yeah, dude. It's a new wave apparently. It's like just because it like negatively correlates, so it like juices the hell out of the odds. That's that's why you got to do it. Okay, we got a question here. Thoughts on Baker this week? I like both his rushing props against Denver, who blitz at the highest rate in the NFL, could lead to more scrambles. Nash, that's a really good read.
It definitely will lead to more scrambles. I could pull up the data right here real quick.
Well, and one thing too is that I'm pretty sure Denver's playing man at the top 3 rate. So a lot of blitzing, a lot of man.
Yeah.
That's just a good combo. And we saw last week that he was actually willing to run a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nash, that's a very sound bet. I like that. Let's see, what's the line at? Baker Mayfield. And then maybe if you can do some, let's see, rushing yards, 8.5. Okay, at 365 MGM, 9.5 Caesars, 9.5 FanDuel, 2.5 rushing attempts. A little bit juiced to the over, but my Broncos are fucking terrible, so he'll probably be kneeling it out at the end of the game. Yeah, I like both those looks, honestly. I'd probably lean the yards and just hope for like an explosive rush.
Yeah.
The longest rush over 7.5, so that's pointless pretty much.
So looking at specifically scrambles, let me see here. I could pull up both of what I want. So when blitzed, just specifically blitzed but not pressured. So blitzed but not pressured, 0 scrambles. Blitzed and pressured, 1 scramble for 12 yards. And then just no blitz but pressured, 5 scrambles for 33 yards. They blitz at the highest rate in the league and get pressure at the 2nd or 3rd highest rate in the league. Most likely, they're going to get pressure on them. They're going to try and get in the rollout or step up into the pocket. With that man coverage, there's going to be holes in the 2nd level for him to scramble. I think he's been doing a much better job at just trying to make the right play, not forcing anything. Mike Evans is going to get a lot of the shadow with PS2. So his go-to guys probably be Chris Godwin. We'll see how Chris Godwin does, but I think Chris Godwin should get peppered here, being the safety valve underneath, a lot of crossers and all that sort of stuff across the middle. You said the line was at 8.5 for rushing.
Yep.
I like that though. Definitely, I think it definitely have to scramble.
Yeah, I like that
pairs with Godwin. Yeah, I like that. I didn't even see
What
that.
is Godwin good against man though, or
Yeah.
he is okay? Godwin just kind of seems like a zone beater. I don't know why, just because he's a slot guy, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Surtain will be on Evans. I know Evans is good against man, just like that. Go up and get it, jump ball guy, like contested catch. That's gonna be good against man.
So in 2024, this is what from Jacob Gibbs. Evans and Godwin have each been targeted 7 times versus the blitz, with Evans contending with the coverage of Patrick Surtain. It could be another big week for Godwin.
Okay. Yeah, Surtain for sure. He's a good DB. Yeah, Godwin. I know Godwin's lines are like super high, but he really does have a good role. Like just playing the slot full time. He's not outside receiver where he was playing last year, so that he could actually be pretty sticky with how good he's been.
I remember someone asked me earlier because I was asking people like what questions they want answered. We did. Let's see.
Okay, this looks like shit.
We did DeAndre Swift. They asked about 2.5 receptions. Someone asked about quarterbacks, like how to target quarterbacks because the passing has been low.
Just close your eyes and bet the under. You'll get more right than you'll get wrong.
Yeah, NFL is starting to trend back towards being high rushers, like more like lean on the rush because it's higher EPA.
I like this one. I'll speak on this one. Dolphins Zamir White touches at 14.5. Nash, if I'm going to be honest, I already played his over 56.5 rushing yards, so there's another free play for you guys. Yeah, if there's a spot for him, honestly, I came in this week and I'm like Zamir White at literally any number. I mean, the Panthers are another one of those atrocious run defenses, and Pierce just wants to run the ball so badly. They haven't been able to due to game script and due to lack of efficiency. Yes, I'd like it more if Bryce Young was starting because Panthers just wouldn't be able to score or stay on the field. But let's also not act like Andy Dalton's like a good quarterback at 36 years old or however old he is, right? Like, yes, it's an upgrade, but Raiders should get a nice positive game script. They can't stop the run. And if they can't stop the run, dude, Antonio Pierce like isn't going to be able to help himself, dude. Like he's just going to keep running it. So yeah, White touches, rush attempts, 14.5. I love that. I think, yeah, they want to get him 20. If there's ever a week to do it, it's this week. So I think that Zamir is going to be a smash this week.
I like that a lot. Someone asked about top or the way to think about the receivers in Los Angeles as far as the Rams. So he picked Jordan Whittingham over 3.5 receptions plus 115 and a ladder for yards. I probably say Whittington the most just because 100% route participation. Only got one target, but that offense did not have the ball a lot. He has proven during preseason like he can get open. He can do all the things he needs to get done. He's going to play the Cooper Kupp role, in my opinion, because he is a slot guy. Let me check that to confirm.
Yep, no, he did. He played every single one of his slots or snaps was in the slot, I believe, after Kupp got hurt.
Yeah.
And he played 100% of the snaps after Kupp got hurt too. So one thing I do have to say is with Whittington, like, yes, he's my pick too, for sure. I think he's the most talented out of the group. Like Marcus Robinson, he's not getting an upgrade just because other people are out. Tyler Johnson too, like he really hasn't done anything in the NFL. So Tutu Atwell is like a good player when he gets snaps, but McVay doesn't really like him because he can't run block, and Whittington can run block.
Yeah.
The one thing I do have to say is I saw a clip of McVay saying that he might switch to 12 personnel. And if that's the case, that could really screw Whittington over.
Yeah.
And I think that Whittington is just like best to play an alt personally. Because like honestly, if they come out, they're running 11 personnel, he's in the Cooper Kupp role. San Francisco gets ahead on them because the Rams suck and they're a dead team. Like, and it's just a pass-heavy game script. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Whittington had like nine receptions or something. Like, to be completely honest, we just see this time over time again with people in McVay's system who we don't think are that good, and they just turn out and they're really good. So,
Yeah, and the 12 personnel would make a lot of sense because the offensive line has really struggled. I mean, you saw it last week. So, I mean, getting an extra blocker in there would really help them out, especially in the run game. They need to
Yep.
get the run game going, but that offensive line is really struggling right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably lean like an alt line, probably yards, which is probably what looks like we already played.
Yep.
40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus. I like that.
I love that too. I think that's a really good bet. What chalks this? Evans under, Chase over, Aaron Jones under, Daniel Jones under, Deontay Johnson receptions. Dog. Variance chalk set. You should not be parlaying 8 things together, to be honest with you. But if you got to ask me for a lean, I'd say, yeah, Evans under, I lean it. Jamar Chase over, definitely lean it against the Commanders. Aaron Jones under, definitely lean it. Daniel Jones under, definitely lean it. Deontay Johnson receptions, probably lean it just because quarterback upgrade. Dak
Yeah.
yards, actually definitely lean Dak yards. CD yards, yep.
Yeah.
Because Ravens are elite against the run. They're like the best.
And I'm
run
guessing ETN is rushing.
Yeah. I don't really have anything on ETN.
I would lean under on that. That'd probably be the one I'd probably pick miss. Probably lean ETN under. The Bills' run defense has been a little bit better. Let me check to make sure though.
Yeah, but to be honest, DN up until ETN, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do actually lean with you for sure on the first 7. I think those are all pretty good looks.
I think the iffy one would for me be ETN there. Let me see. Defense. Actually, let me check what kind of do they run man gap. I think they run man gap. Jaguars. Yeah, they're mainly man gap. So let's check defense. Let me check the Bills. So yards per carry against man gap, they're allowing the 10th fewest. Missed tackles forced, they are allowing the 12th most. Yards after contact, which is where ETN thrives, Bills are allowing the 7th fewest. Yards before contact, which is where the Jaguars offensive line really struggles, the Bills are allowing the 14th most. So I mean, you could say that's average.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that if he's not getting yards after contact, that's gonna be a big problem for me, in my opinion, for his rushing. Let me see what his line is at.
Dude, I feel like I have no clue how to read the Jags. Like, I don't know like what it is about them, but like I just feel like I never bet on Jags games. Like or Jaguars players. Like I couldn't tell you why, but Tank Bigsby might be back, and that might be a problem because he was actually better in ETN in week 1, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
So let me check Jaguars injury report.
Would I replace him with Olave yards maybe? Also do like Thielen or Johnson more. I might just do Zamir yards. I don't know. Thielen or Johnson, I'd probably go with Deontay just because they need to make him happy for sure.
Yeah. Bigsby should be back. He's been a limited participant Thursday and Friday, I believe. Do they have a Monday game?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, Olave yards. I would definitely do Olave yards over that. Or Zamir. I'd put both of them over ETN personally. Not sure if you answered this. I have bad service at the moment. Answered what?
I think it's the Tank Dell one. Over 3.5 rushing yards.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good bet. He's been getting a ton of design stuff. And yeah, with Mixon out.
If they were actually giving us a line last week, me and A1 would have took the rushing yards. Because he's been getting he's gotten a carry every single game, I think, so far.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Get him 1 carry. I'm in this Discord, and I saw an alternate line on him, I think, to get like 15 plus, which like those runs go for 15 yards all the time. Like those end arounds. It's not like he's getting like HB dives or some shit. Yeah. I think that was like plus 500. So I think the latter makes a ton of sense too. Like, because those plays just either go for like negative yards or for like 10 plus, So I think I think that's actually the way to play it personally. But yeah, I do really like that. All right, guys. Think that's gonna be it for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Got the little SGP up, little moneymaker. George Kittle doubtful for week 3. That game's gonna be a shit show. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Summarize the plays if you guys just joined. First play I gave out was Kelsey over 4.5 receptions. Bengals money line plus 120. Kyler over 31.5 rushing yards. A-Chain, Miami Dolphins over 3.5 receptions. Ty Chandler under 35.5 rushing yards. All right, guys. We'll be back here. Me and JJ will be back here next Wednesday to break down Thursday Night Football. And hope you guys enjoyed this one. JJ, you got anything to say before we head up?
Good luck.
Yeah, good
Hopefully
luck.
better than last week.
Yeah, we'll need it. I'll need it, but shit. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys later.